Welcome back to Interview Month, all October long here at the Big Three. This week, Joe catches up with Randy Nonnenberg, the founder of Bring a Trailer, to talk about how it went from a small blog to one of the biggest car auction sites on the planet. If you don't have Bring a Trailer in a tab open right now, what the hell are you doing? All right, so here's their chat.
Welcome back to the Big Three. We have a very special guest right now, Randy Nonnenberg, co-founder of Bring a Trailer. Randy, how's your car week going?
This is a great event. I love this event. It's my favorite event of Car Week. There's a lot going on this week. As you know, you've been telling me you've been all over the peninsula, but Laguna Seca is very special to me, and being here at the track is super cool. So that's kind of the pinnacle for me.
This is like your hometown track, right?
This is. I grew up coming here as a kid. I grew up about an hour and a half from here in the Bay Area, right in between two racetracks, right? And Sears Point is up in Sonoma, and then this is down here. So I got to kind of go to those as a kid, never as a racer, but as a kind of fan.
Yeah.
And it's a special place.
That's so cool. Growing up in this region, what kind of races were you going to?
Yeah, NorCal had like a lot of interesting cars coming through. It was sports car racing primarily, and then vintage racing. I always loved seeing the old cars and walking the paddock and the variety. I mean, this rings true to Bring a Trailer, right? I mean, the kind of stuff, you see everything, all the colors, all the years, you know, young, old, all different kinds of stuff. And so I gravitated towards, you know, European sports cars, but also muscle cars. I love the Trans Am group and the Mustangs and Corvettes type groups, and getting to participate in some of that now is really special.
You got a couple of those cars in your garage right now, right? You got the old Chrysler.
I do have an old Chrysler. You've been doing your research on me or what? How'd you find that one? Yeah, that's kind of an obscure one. Yeah, I have an old, I like old American cars, but also, I like stuff from all over the map, you know, trucks and cars. And but I'm racing here this week, which is super special.
That's fun.
In a 65 Shelby, which is like
65 Shelby.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a dream car.
Super special. It went through Bring a Trailer, and I'm not allowed to bid on BAT, but I found that afterwards it was a reserve not met car. So we decided to go experiment and look at it, and had a shop in Arizona build it up, and now I'm racing this week. So it's pretty cool.
That's so fun.
Yep.
So that's the loophole. It's like you can't bid on stuff, but if it doesn't get to reserve, you're like, all right, maybe I'll check this out.
Yeah, then it's a free-for-all after that, right? So, but anyway, there's a lot of auctions around here on the peninsula this week, and there's a lot of crazy bidding stuff that goes on. But at BAT, we're firm on that. I shouldn't be bidding against the customers.
That's a good rule.
That's how we run it.
So Bring a Trailer started just as like a group of friends sending each other listings on Craigslist and stuff, right?
It started with a buddy of mine and I. Yeah. And I was always the one friend in our friend group at school that was like the kind of diehard car guy, and was like telling people, oh, you should check this out, or you should check this, or they'd ask me a question about it. And I was always also addicted as a little kid to even newspaper classifieds and, you know, eBay in the early days and Craigslist when it started up. And
I mean, if you want to get depressed, look at like newspapers from the 90s or like old car mags where you get just like beautiful cars that are $35,000 for like $1,500 back then or something.
Nothing, right? You buy a Porsche Speedster for $25,000 back in the day, right? And that was a great era, though, you know. But when everything came online, late '90s, early 2000s, it was just chaos, right? And nobody knew how to transact, and people were putting cars on these websites, but you couldn't find them. The search tools were bad. Craigslist, you could only
Silk
look.
Road to get a car.
Totally. I mean, it was hard. It was really hard. So anyway, BAT, we turned it on in 2007 because I was always looking for cars. But then at the end of the night, I'd find all this cool stuff, and I'd just delete it all and open it all again tomorrow and do it all over again, right? For no reason. But BAT gave us a place to kind of say, hey, here's the coolest thing Randy found today. And then instead of just, you know, sending links to people in their emails, you'd send them BAT or have them sign up for BAT.
So it was like an email newsletter or a blog at first?
It was a blog. So we turned on a blog, but then we added what we called the Daily Mail, which we actually still have. And I think there's almost 1 million people subscribed to it. It's crazy now, but that still goes out at 6 a.m. Pacific every morning. Or is it 5 a.m.? Anyway, early in the morning to kind of start your day, you know, and that is how a lot of people, you know, open up their day with whatever website they go to. But many of them get their coffee and go to BAT in the morning.
Yeah. We'll be right back after these messages.
Big thank you to our sponsor this week. It's the one and only Cash App. You know Cash App. You love Cash App. For a limited time, new Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use code SECURE10. That's the word SECURE10 in their profile at sign up and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's banking partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Incorporated brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. Thank you so much, Cash App. Big thank you to our sponsor this week, EveryPlate. Spend less on flavor-packed homemade meals than you would on normal groceries or at a restaurant. What are you waiting for? Dig into these flavor-packed meals your household will love. New customers can enjoy this special offer for only $1.99 a meal. Go to everyplate.com/podcast and use code BIG3199 to get started. That's BIG3199 to get started. Applied as a discount on first box, limited time only. Thank you so much, EveryPlate.
Now back to the show.
So you must have about 90 tabs open at all times on your browser.
Absolutely. I do. It's crazy. And the guys, men and women that work for BAT, they all have crazy stuff that they're looking for, and everybody's into cars. But yeah, I always have, a few weird classified sites and a bunch of auction stuff and a bunch of BAT tabs, the BAT app and different things that I'm tracking cars. Even the people are like, was that the olden days? And you don't do that anymore, Randy? But it's still my therapy. It's still what I do.
It is addictive. Once you get in that rhythm and you're like, oh, well, maybe I'll look up. It always starts with like a car where you're like, oh, that's actually something I haven't been paying attention to. You start looking it up and you're like, whoa, some of these are like affordable. Mm-hmm. I get down that like cycle all the time with just random cars like Chrysler Crossfire.
Okay.
I have a couple tabs open right now. You can find cars on Bring a Trailer that run the gamut from, like the $850 crashed Porsche that we bought at Donut.
That's right.
To things like the Integra that just sold for $200,000 to $1 million cars. Is there a vetting process? Is there a car that you wouldn't accept to be on Bring a Trailer?
Yeah, good question. There is a vetting process, and we vet for the seller, we vet for the price, we vet for the car. So there's kind of multiple factors. But the most important thing about BAT and why it applies to all those categories is it's reliable and it's transparent, right? And so it turns out that works for a $5,000, Civic, and that works for a $100,000 Porsche, right? Because in those transactions, what people want is to be able to not have a sketchy deal, right? And the problem with the internet and the problem with big auctions and frankly, the used car business in general was that if it's mysterious, like it's like a bummer for everybody. It's not good for the seller. It's not good for the buyer. The money transfers in a parking lot somewhere and it's dodgy. So there were a lot of things that kind of needed fixing. And so we just kind of looked at the whole process and we tried to be like, how can we make this like better here and more trustworthy? And the truth gets out, right? With the commenting and the discussion and all that sort of thing. So I think on the whole, it has certainly made it a lot better, and we're trying to improve all the time. But yeah, then you talk about variety. I've always liked, like, I'm not like a one mark guy. Like I'm only into, Camaros and that's it. Right. I have stuff that I really love, but like I'm all over the map. Right. So, and going to websites, or you remember back, there's forums that are like for a particular mark and whatever else. And that was kind of fun because there's some deep knowledge there, but there's also, I just kind of like, all sorts of stuff. You walk through the paddock here at the racetrack, which was sort of formative for me when I was a kid. And there's everything, right? You see, there's this cool, healthy rivalry between the Porsche guys and the American car guys, and then the Italian car guys. And then, and that lives on BAT because we have, like you say, we have Acura Integras that are super expensive, and then we have crazy projects,
and then there's the like social media aspect where people can comment, and people will be like, "Oh, I saw this up for sale," blah blah blah. It's almost like it validates the post too, where if it were on Craigslist and you're on the fence about it, if it pops up on Bring a Trailer, you're like, okay, this is a valid car. It's been vetted. There are 300 pictures of it. There's every little rust spot or whatever. I think that's a good business model. And it really makes everything transparent for the buyer, the seller, to your point. You said that you were not like a one make kind of person. Yeah. Is there any kind of make that you won't touch at all? Or like not hate, but like you're like, I'm never gonna buy an Alpha or something.
Well, there's me, and then there's a website. I mean, the website will take. I mean, we've taken almost everything. I can't even imagine. There's so many categories and models now. Me myself, no. I mean, my dad really got me into cars. Right when I was a kid, I was really lucky for that. I was the youngest of 3 siblings, and I was the only son. And so I was the guy hanging out in the garage and doing car stuff. And he's a super smart guy. And he was always like, don't buy a car with black paint because the paint's hard to keep up. Don't buy a car from Canada because it'll be rusty. Don't buy a French car because we're German and like they don't do French cars. And I kind of broke all those rules. I've had a black car. I've had a French car. Have I bought a car from Canada? My Chrysler was in Canada for a while, I think. So anyway, I'm not super conforming to a bunch of different, rigid rules, but there's stuff that I gravitate towards. I grew up in California, so, trucks where the top comes off, like cruisers and Broncos and Scouts and stuff. I grew up on all that stuff. And
Dakota Sport with the
drop top pickup.
Yeah.
People had those in my neighborhood. Yeah, there was one of those in San Francisco Street Park near our office for a long time. I always thought that guy was pretty brave for that Shelby edition pickup truck.
Yeah.
You remember those?
Yep.
So it's really fun to be on BAT because, you can shout out any weirdo, interesting vehicle. And it's like, we've had one of those, even if it was listed a couple years ago, we still remember a bunch of the inventory. And you were talking about like internal donut team Slack and like stuff you get excited about. At our office, it's like, oh, did you see that car that went live? Or did you see this one? Or there's a lot of enthusiasm.
That's awesome. Yeah. I feel like if it's a business model centered around a passion, then like people are gravitating towards working there just because they love cars and sharing this kind of knowledge. What's in your garage right now at home?
I have a number of cars. We have a pretty cool BAT office where we get to keep some of our cars and different staffers.
That's a good perk.
You should come by. Yeah, it's in San Francisco in Potrero Hill. We're lucky to have that. And so I have a couple old cars. I have an old Alfa Giulietta, and I got an Audi RS4 wagon, which is a non-USA car, which was kind of my dream when I was coming out of college. It's an 01.
Okay. Is that B5?
It's a B5 RS4. I like those cars.
That's fun.
I've got an FJ40 Land Cruiser that is like a replica of the first car I ever had, and I never wanted to sell it, but I sold it, and so I kind of attribute back to that.
Yeah.
I've got an A2 GTI, 16 valve, 92 US spec.
That's very fun.
That's a super cool car. We list some of those on BAT, and it always stirs up a bunch of enthusiasm. I'm a big VW guy. I love VW stuff.
Do you get any like Gulf countries coming through?
We do get Gulf countries. I had one offered to me. It was bought on BAT, and the seller's like, "Hey, I think I'm going to bring it back. Do you want it?" And I had to stare it down. I was like, "Ooh, do I want to be the crazy guy in a Gulf country?" You ever looked at one of those closely? I mean,
never been up.
They're
close.
Lifted, and they have like a subframe built below them for the 4-wheel drive system.
10 or 12 inches of ground clearance.
They're really tall. Yeah. But then the motor is like sunk down, so you open the engine bay, and the motor's like way down.
It's like lower center of gravity.
Well, the way the drivetrain is like beneath the chassis, it's not the same as the 2-wheel drive models. Anyway, those are fascinating. I can't believe they built them.
Well, they were actually a reaction to the Lada Niva.
They're similar to that.
Yeah, and then the Fiat Panda came about because of the Lada Niva, and then there's this whole new sector that VW is like, wait, you want in on this?
I love that you love those cars. Those three have actually seen sort of an upsurge in interest in those cars.
It's funny because all of them are like cult classics.
Yeah.
Like all of them have a following.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for them to do like a new one or like some, like
a retro version of those. That would be interesting. I wonder if they'd ever do that with a Golf or a I don't know where Lada is. Who's going to resurrect that?
Well, they're still making the Niva, like it's a 50-year-old model with a couple tweaks, but it's basically the same car that came out in 1977, which is fitting for the car. Mm-hmm. All right, so we're at Motor Week right now in Monterey. Mm-hmm. What has been the most exciting? You said Laguna Seca has been fun. Have you been here all week?
I've been here a number of days and last week, so I spend a lot of time around the track. But I get around, down to Monterey and Carmel and the different events. And I've been coming here since I was a little kid, So I love bouncing around and the Concours on Sunday. I mean, you can there's something for everybody, really. I mean, there's this supercar stuff now, and there's some new events. I was looking through the events list. There's like a Lamborghini event, and there's like stuff that's never been here before, and they're stepping it up. But something I'm stoked on here at the track, they're doing this F1 stuff, which is right on the other side of this wall. There's like everything from the brand new 2025 cars all the way back. And
that's so cool.
That's pretty special to see in one place. You see that stuff in Europe racing, the historic stuff. But you rarely see it out here. So to see all that is pretty neat.
That's awesome. So that's pretty rare for this kind of event. Like they haven't done that much.
Sometimes, the classes change every year. So sometimes you'll get an F1 or an open wheel class, but sometimes it'll be more sports cars or whatever else. So but the number of cars and the quality of them, the Benetton cars and the Candy livery and the James Hunt cars and all this crazy stuff. that stuff is special to get in one place. So, but you see that like in Monaco or whatever at the historic, but to get that in Monterey is really neat.
We'll be right back after these messages.
You got to protect yourself out there, and that's why I love this week's sponsor, Cash App. Cash App has built-in card security that keeps your money safe, plus the protections that you expect. When you get the Cash App card, not only do you get access to tons of perks and benefits like exclusive early access to nationwide concert pre-sales or discounts on popular brands, but you also have extra security with the power to instantly lock or unlock your card right from your phone in just one tap. Spend with peace of mind today and order a Cash App card in the app or at cash.app/card. For a limited time, new Cash App customers can earn $10 if they use code SECURE10 in their profile at sign up. That's SECURE10 in their profile at sign up, and send $5 to a friend within 14 days. Terms apply. Cash App is a financial services platform, not a bank. Banking services provided by Cash App's bank partners. Prepaid debit cards issued by Sutton Bank, member FDIC. Discounts provided by Cash App, a Block Incorporated brand. Visit cash.app/legal/podcast for full disclosures. Thank you so much, Cash App. Big thank you to our sponsor this week, EveryPlate. You think you have some big bucks or tons of time to spend in the kitchen to make delicious food at home, huh? Well, think again. When you use EveryPlate, you get restaurant-level deliciousness week after week with recipes like crispy buffalo ranch chicken and cheesy Mexican street corn hash. Oh my God, that sounds delicious, and it's not because I haven't eaten today. You can spend less on flavor-packed homemade meals than you would on your normal groceries or at a restaurant. This is a great option for people who are super busy. It is extremely convenient, and you know what? I'm kind of thinking I might sign up with these guys. So what are you waiting for? Dig into these flavor-packed meals your household will love. New customers can enjoy the special offer of only $1.99 a meal. That's amazing. Go to everyplate.com/podcast and use code BIG3. That's BIGTHREE 199, BIG3 199 to get started. Applied as a discount on your first box. Limited time only. Thank you so much, EveryPlate.
Now back to the show.
Has there been any event that really stood out as like kind of a disruptor? So there's a lot of like wealth here. There's a lot of hypercar reveals, stuff like that. What you don't really see is like a shit box, like Walmart parking lot, car meetup.
Yep.
Has there ever been anything that really surprised you in that respect?
Yeah, well, I'll give a little BAT plug on that. I mean, we do our Bring a Trailer alumni gatherings, and we've done it here at the track for the last like 5 years. We're taking a year off this year, and we'll see where we are next year. But that's always like the BAT inventory on the website is like all over, right?
Yeah.
So you could get a Pinto next to a who knows what Ferrari, which I love that, right?
It's funny that you mentioned that because our Max Maddox, our creative director, was this close to buying a Geo Metro on bags.
Okay.
Like 3 years ago. and he like bid it up to $1,300. And then it got up to like $1,350 and is like, nah.
No deal.
I feel like the bags would have been worth more than that just by themselves.
Possibly. Yeah. And interestingly here, everybody should come to Monterey Car Week as far as I'm concerned, but it's really fun. But what people always want is a car that nobody else has, right? Like, so that car for $1,300, like you would have been the only one here. And people would have said, hey, did you see the, purple Metro driving down Ocean Avenue in Carmel? Even though there's 3, Aventadors behind it, they would talk about that car, right? And I love that, right? So when I've brought different cars of mine, and they stand out not because they're the most expensive or whatever, but just because they're interesting. And that gets people fired up around here a lot, which is kind of the most fun of it, I think.
Yeah. It was very telling of everyone at Donut's taste that we were at Motorlux yesterday, and there's like the what is it, RSR, the Porsche 963 road legal.
Yeah, the silver one, was that car there?
The silver one was parked there next to a jet. And, there's jets, there's helicopters, there's like $50 million worth of cars parked outside, and all the donut people were huddled around an E30 wagon. And we're like, oh, like drooling.
That's cool. That's where I'd be. I mean, I love E30 wagons, and you don't get to see them very much, right? So that's even more special. Yeah, when you cruise through town and the hotel has, 4 Bugattis, and then it has one E28 M5. You're like, wow, look at that car. You know what I mean? So anyway, that sort of scarcity thing, and I've even find, there's really like well-to-do folks obviously walking around the area, but they'll show up in a car that they're passionate about that cost 20 grand, and they're like, this is my favorite, for the weekend. And I always love that. It's not, there certainly are folks that are like, the more dough, the better, but there's a lot of them that are just into the cars, and they'll drive a VW Bug around for the weekend, and it'll be their fun driver, as opposed to trying to show off in, the heaviest stuff.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think Larry Chen had a post that was like talking about the development of the Valkyrie.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, Adrian Newey wanted, the silver wings to be 1 micro, whatever nano millimeter thick, for weight savings. And then he showed this Valkyrie, and it's like covered in rhinestones. And he's like, come on.
Was that here?
Yeah, it was here.
Oh man.
And so there's like such a spectrum of people here in cars. And I think it's really fun. It's such an energetic week.
Mm-hmm.
This is only our second week here. So we're here for the second time, and I still feel very out of place. So.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You don't need to feel out of place, man. I mean, I think everybody's got, their shared passions and what they're into. And you can go walk into the auction tent where guys are bidding $5 million or whatever, and you get to watch just as much as the next dude, So
yeah, we
hopefully
watched,
you feel that way and you feel welcomed into it,
Yeah, it's there. It's completely my own insecurity, but hasn't been any weirdness. Everyone has been so welcoming, and once they find out we're from Donut, there's so many fans that pop up out of nowhere, and it's very fun.
Cool.
We'll be right back after these messages.
Some people just know they could save hundreds on car insurance by checking Allstate first. Like to check your parking brake is off first before pulling out of the driveway. You're gunning it, trying to make it to work on time, but something's wrong. You get out and check under the hood, you try again, the whole car's vibrating, and it smells bad. You left the parking brake on. Total amateur move. Checking first is smart, so check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds. You're in good hands with Allstate. Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Now back to the show.
There's been a bunch of surprising auction results on Bring a Trailer this year. The most recent one in my mind has been the Integra that sold for over $200,000. Do you have any predictions for any cars that are going to pop off next year that maybe are cheap now or like maybe slept on?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, actually the Integra is worth giving some context. Thankfully, not every Integra Type R is going to be 200 grand, but that one rung the bell and was really crazy because it was like the best seller real-time racing, and Peter Cunningham, who raced the cars, he was the steward of the car. It had this amazing presentation, crazy story.
Yeah.
I got to ride around Road America in Wisconsin with Peter Cunningham in that car for the video shoot.
Oh,
if
wow.
you look at that listing, because we were there, we were doing one of our alumni gatherings at that moment, and that car, there's some cars that are just sort of next level, and then it's the seller and it's the whole story. So that one went crazy. I don't love stories where, oh, this car is going to run up and, these are super expensive. Now, I wish Integra Type Rs were 20 grand like everybody so that everybody could have them, and interestingly, the next one that sold after that had like 80,000 miles on it and it sold for 40K, 30 or 40K. So anyway, sometimes people are like, oh my gosh, now they're all going to be crazy. And I'm thankful that they're not. And there's a lot of other cool
Well,
ones.
if you look at the graphs on Bring a Trailer, there's always that outlier that's like that dot way up in the corner.
And there's a reason, because sometimes some crazy one happened or some crazy ownership, or it's the one, and that's great. But my favorite part of Integra Type Rs is that you can still, get a kind of scruffy one here and there, or one that you're actually going to drive and drive.
Most of them are scruffy.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Most of them have had some hard living. But anyway, you asked about 2026. So yeah, anyway, we've had a pretty good run through 2025 of some, I'd say a fairly strong market, not like runaway. That Acura is an outlier. Like it's like people are spending money on cars and it's vibrant, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I got to buy it now or it's going to, run away from me. Like COVID, there were some narratives of like, oh, I'm going to buy a car and I'm going to sell it in a year and I'm going to make a bunch of money, right? Like I think that's a tricky, scary place.
A lot of people got screwed over.
And then it comes down after that, right?
Yeah.
Which we all saw. So, but right now I think it's in just sort of a pretty healthy place. And, but yeah, there are these cars, these things you can find that, they are, things that young people like, your audience likes, that you and I would like to drive. And then there are events-driven vehicles, what I call events-driven vehicles, which means there's something to do with it, right? Like if you have a car, but it's got no miles on it or whatever. You can sit there and polish it, but there's kind of not much to be able to have utility in that. And I think that's what makes for a broad audience. And what you want when you're selling a car later is you want a lot of people to want it, right? If you buy a car that you're the only person that wants it, like unloading it's going to be super hard. So there's a ton of events now around driving events, around just sort of destination type events, depending on where you live in the country. Obviously, there's racing and track type stuff. I think a lot of people like, not to harp on Integra Type R's forever, but they were good, like track day cars.
Yeah,
they were good,
autocross.
all sorts of stuff. So they appealed to a lot of people. Video game cars, as you
Yes.
know, right? Like everybody loves.
R33.
Totally.
Yeah.
It's Skyline type stuff and Subaru 22B inspiration
yeah.
that trickles all the way down through all the WRXs.
Yeah.
A lot of the Volkswagens and Golf R's and stuff like that.
I think that is a good way to think about it, is like the trickle down.
Halo and trickle down. That's
Yep.
right. That's
So-
absolutely right. You know, these crazy, you saw maybe out in the paddock, they're doing the big Ford performance display of the Mustangs and the GTD, which is incredible.
It's so great.
But then you look at like a base Mustang, what that has, it has like 375 horse or something these days,
Yeah.
which is totally,
Every car
totally
is
crazy.
amazing now.
yeah. So, but that lets you go back a couple generations. Like not everybody has 40 or 50 grand to spend on a car, right? So there's a lot of stuff on BAT that's, between 8 grand and 16 grand.
Affordable.
And it's going to be, is it going to double in value? No, but it's probably going to be rock solid. So yeah. So I lean towards Acuras on that. I lean towards, the Subaru movement is kind of, I think the best ones are in the rear view. That's my personal opinion. The newest Subarus are
I'd say
not
so.
my favorite, but the ones from, call it 02 to 2014, like that era.
Hawkeye,
there's a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of cool stuff in there, you know, and if they're nice and they're clean, they're not going to lose value. You know, people are going to like, you buy it with 60,000 miles on it, you put 20,000 on it, 80,000 still low miles, right? And you got a lot of use out of it. So I always coach people into those sort of eras of vehicles because I think they're going to hold up on value.
That's a good point. Can I give you a couple cars and you tell me if you would buy or sell?
Totally.
996.
996, you gotta be careful with the engine because you can get in over your head. They seem cheap and then you can have repair bills. So, but if the
engine's
engine's
like bearing problems,
there's bearing problems with some of them and not others. You can read long articles on BAT about that.
Yeah,
because we list a lot of them. The turbos are rock solid, but unfortunately those are kind of expensive to get into, right? Those are $60,000-$70,000 cars.
Yeah.
But the standard 911s, even with a stick, you can get for 20, 26, something like that. And you have a Porsche 911 to drive. I'm buy on those. I love those. Some people are like, the super snobby crowd will be like, that's not my favorite 911. I was like, who cares? Like when you're driving those, they're super cool. So anyway, I'm a fan of those cars.
So you're buy on 996.
Absolutely.
All right. What about like E92? Let's just say base E92.
Yeah, totally. I love that generation, and I like wagons from that generation. Obviously, I'm a wagon geek, but there's actually a pretty good market for those wagons in the second hand. We sell a lot of those on BAT. The base sedans are a cool starting point and are the cheapest of all of them now, right? I mean, the wagons actually snuck up and like, all right, it's more expensive to get a wagon than a sedan. But the if you're staying out at M cars and you're staying towards the standard BMWs, I worked at BMW in that right before that era, right as those were coming out was when I departed to do BAT.
You lived in Germany, right?
But I lived in Germany as a little kid, but then I had internships at Audi and BMW in college.
Cool.
So I was into cars all through college, and Nonnenberg is German. I wanted to go work for a German car company.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch?
I do. Yeah.
That's the only thing I know how to say.
Well, we're good. We're good. I love being over there and doing car stuff over there, but also BMW is like one of my favorite marks. So anyway, E92s are super cool. But buy, sell, hold on that one. I think it's a killer driver. I don't think the BMW 3 Series that came after that look any better. I think it may be kind of the final
rounder.
Yeah, kind of one of the final good ones in my opinion, but everybody has a different take on aesthetics. But those are kind of nearing the bottom of their depreciation curve if it's not like just a Thrasher standard one, if it's like a nice one. So that's a car you could drive and hold, I think, for a long time. Are you going to make money on it? I wouldn't bet.
Probably not.
But I think and that's one that you could go do perform. You could go drive the canyons in that car, but also just commute in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. very comfortable.
Yep.
Between like an E92 and like a 1 Series from like say 2013 or something, which would you pick?
Ooh, well, 1 Series. Yeah, are you 1 Series guy or no? Everybody's like has a firm opinion. You can't be maybe.
I came around to them. At first I was like, I don't like this silhouette of this car at all. And then I was like, but like the power to weight ratio and like just like how fun it looks to drive.
Mhm.
I'm like, you can't see the car when you're in it. So what does it matter?
It's like a Porsche 914. That's what people used to say about that. Like, it looks great from the driver's seat, right? Yeah. 1 Series, the scared headlights, right? You always said the spooked headlights. I'm a fan. I'm a 1 Series fan. Yeah. So anyway, 1M is like, man, I wish I could have one of those. Guy in our office had a white one of those, and I was like, man, that's a cool car.
Yeah.
But then in my family, I've recommended, and I have family members with, 128s, 135s.
Yeah.
And there's they're not that expensive.
They're not expensive.
Stick shift one with under 100K miles.
Yeah.
What's
Do you have to be worried about the turbos on the
probably a little bit
135?
Probably a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's not that much of a performance difference between the two. But I mean, it's more just spec and wheels and what do you like about them. And it's really just finding one that hasn't been parked outside and Craigslist neglected. You know what I mean? My
biggest gripe with those is that they didn't come in great colors. You always see white ones, black ones, and red.
Yeah. Well, red. Yeah. I forget what the colors are. I was going to pull up the BAT app, see if we got one live, but I'm following them all the time, and I like those. And my dad drives one of those. People I know drive those. It's a smart choice.
They're like third on my list of.
But I think I'd do a 3 Series instead.
You really like a 2008 3 Series versus.
I'm a big 3 Series guy.
Okay.
Or M3 if you can get into it.
It's definitely a more practical car with like a good trunk and stuff. One last one. I got kind of a curveball for you.
I love that. Give me curveballs.
What do you think of the Chrysler Crossfire? Do you think that's buy, sell, or hold?
Dude, when that came out, I drove to the dealer to go look at it.
Yeah.
Because I was like, because it was weird. Right?
It's super weird.
It was a weird one. I forget, did the coupe or the open car come first? I think the coupe was
The coupe came first.
And it had that wing that flipped up in the back, and it was Chrysler, but it was like European Chrysler somehow. I don't know.
Well,
I don't know
like
all of the story.
Rebadged SLK.
Okay, so there was Benz DNA in it. That's right. That was that era. But I remember going to look at it because I was like, "This is so weird. There's no way this is going to work."
Yeah.
And then, I mean, it had styling that was pretty aggressive at the time. Right? It doesn't have like strakes in the hood.
Yeah, it's like almost like a luggage rack. Turn into a car. I don't know how to describe it.
I love that.
It's got the fins.
You should tell an owner. You should the next owner you meet, you should tell them that. That would be really funny. But I agree with you. And I don't think I'm going after one of those to drive for myself. I mean, when you talk about a 1 Series next to that, it's kind of an obvious choice for me. But quirky, different, cheap. They're cheap now, right? And I haven't heard a review on what they're like to drive, though. Have you?
No, I would imagine it's probably feels pretty heavy and maybe not great. I don't know. I'm just speculating, but I'm not a huge fan.
I can only judge the aesthetics because I've never driven one. I've never driven one fast. I've never really been around one too much, except for I made a point, and I don't know, that says something. If I was in my late 20s when that car came out, or I don't know what I was, and I made a point to like go look at. There's not that many cars I did that with, but I did that with. I remember doing that with the first Lexus IS when it came out.
Yeah,
remember with the chronograph dials and it had
a 2J in it, but not the non-turbo one.
But it was a rear-wheel drive Lexus sports sedan. They were going after the 3 Series, and like the moment the dealer had one, not to buy, I didn't have any money, but I was like, I got to go see this car. Right, it was on the cover of Road and Track or whatever, and so I went and looked at that, and I did the same for the Crossfire, and I've done that. It's That's interesting that sometimes, it'll be like a magazine car and you go look at it. And I didn't really want one, but I was so into cars that I was like, I got to see this, you know? And so anyway, that's how I always did it.
I would say that's like an old guy car right now, at least. There's
the Chrysler brand has never really been a young dude car, right? I mean, did they make anything?
No.
Those Concorde convertibles were like rental cars, right?
Yeah. God. I have a theory that like those weird old guy cars from the mid 2000s are going to pop off for no reason at all. Like the Cadillac XLR, the SSR is already like crazy expensive.
Yeah. Those are expensive.
But that is like legitimate.
Who's making those expensive? Is it the even older guys that were an old guy back then, or are like young ironic people like wanting to think they're cool now? Or like, why are those expensive?
If you put a gun to my head and said, who is the average SSR driver, I would be dead.
I got nothing.
Yeah, because
I don't know who's buying it.
It is kind of a sleeper that it has like an LS in it, which is cool and probably can do burnouts because it has no weight on the back. But like, who the fuck is driving that thing?
We're selling them, we're listing them, and people are bidding like crazy.
They come in purple and yellow, and it's like, what?
Totally yellow.
Like,
totally.
Someone who has a very successful clowning business is driving this car.
Here we go. Let me see.
I cannot think of. Yeah, let's check out the graph for SSRs.
Here it is, man. No joke. We sell this stuff. There's one live right now. It's ending tomorrow.
What's it at?
It's at 20 something, and it looks like these are selling in the 20s, 20.
That's crazy.
We can pull up the full chart. BTs. Look at the holy moly. Look at all these.
Whoa, that's a lot.
We've listed 170 SSRs.
That's
dude.
all of the SSRs. They've all come through Bring a Trailer.
At one point or another. I love this. This is what I do. Whenever I'm talking about any model is I just go search it because you can find the green and the red and the yellow and the...
Yeah, I mean, the colors are super fun.
Black's not terrible.
Black's not terrible.
Anyway, I don't know who all these buyers are, but look, sold. They're all going to somebody. We have listed all of them.
That's so funny. We are running out of time, Randy. You've been a blast to talk to.
I want to keep doing this.
I know,
this is a
right?
good time.
You got to come back. Whenever you're in LA, please stop by the Donut headquarters.
I will.
And we could shoot another podcast, or you could just drive some of our cars and give us your feedback.
Well, the Porsche. Tell me what's going to happen with the crazy Porsche.
Well,
or is that a heartache story?
It's not really a heartache story. We bought it to kind of talk about who the buyers at Bring a Trailer were and why this car ended up on your site.
Yeah.
You know, like,
well, we sell everything, man. To full-on projects, and that thing needed absolutely everything. Yeah, and it's not every day you get a Porsche for what? What'd you guys buy it for?
$850.
$800.
Might have been the cheapest Porsche ever sold on Bring a Trailer. Mudslide victim.
Oh gosh.
So it's completely crushed.
Maybe it's yard art. It's yard art. We'll see if it makes it out of that. If you can make that thing run, I'd be amazed.
I mean, maybe we could do a collab. Bring a Trailer and Donut. Bring this Porsche back to life.
Bring it back.
I certainly don't know how to bring this thing back to life. I'm out of options. But Randy, you've been such a blast to talk to. Thank you so much for talking to me.
Check out Bring a Trailer. Check out the BAT app and the BAT social, and really those results. Like whenever you're looking for a car and you're like, what are these going for? It's everything we've ever done on BAT is permanent. So there's 200,000 data points of all the cars.
Yeah, I go on Bring a Trailer all the time just to kind of get an idea of. It's way better than like Kelley Blue Book for getting a bigger picture of like a certain car market or something. I use Bring a Trailer all the time. It's always open in my browser. So go check out what's on Bring a Trailer right now. Check out Bring a Trailer's podcast as well. And we'll see you next week.